This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boatyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. For great food, it's Your Choice Family Restaurant of Wayland, Iowa. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Try the John Bain sandwich on your next visit. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC. We're into your trees, not your wallet. Serving all of Henry County and the surrounding area, and we offer a senior citizen and veteran discount.
Iowa Technology Systems of Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Your one-stop computer tech shop. If you, someone you know, or are a business that is having trouble needing laptop, PC, or business technology help, call us today. Visit iowatechsys.com.
Save the date! It's the Junkin Sisters Shop Hop Christmas Edition, December 5th and 6th, 2025. Shop vintage finds, handmade treasures, and festive holiday decor and eats at participating shops. Check out the Junkin Sisters Shop Hop Facebook page for more details.
Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs. They even have a conference room that you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and wonderful introduction. It's Thursday, December 4th, 2025. And I'm in Mount Pleasant, Iowa at the Henry County Courthouse for the Henry County Board of Supervisors meeting. Since it's the first Thursday of the month, it's also time once again for the department head meeting. Here's what was on the agenda today. Approval of agenda, approval of minutes, approval of claims, department head meeting, supervisors subcommittees. What wasn't on the agenda was reimbursement of legal fees to Deputy Carlos Lopez for wrongly being placed on the Brady-Giglio List, but the citizens of Henry County, Iowa made sure the supervisors had it top of mind during public comment. Too bad Assistant County Attorney Blake Vieira exited the meeting room before the public comments. Was it intentional not to hear the comments? Hopefully, he watches this episode.
Shall we all rise for the pledge and they say the pledge? Remember this coming Sunday from Pearl Harbor. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just in case the last survivor on the Arizona recently.
I'll call this meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors on this December 4th, 2025 session. First thing is to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. We have the minutes of November 25th, 2025 before us presented. Any corrections? If not, a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
I've read through them. I'm familiar with them, so
Okay.
I'll vote along with that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Next, we have our department head. Nate, we'll start with you back there.
Geez, I don't really have that much to report. We're starting field work. Of course, it's freezing out right now, so I don't know if we're going to go out today. It doesn't look like it's going to get much better, though, so we're going to have to plug through it. We started in Jefferson Township. We usually work northeast to the west, or northwest to east, and then south. So we'll be, if you did any additions or building anything new, we'll be knocking on your door soon. That's all I got.
Okay. Tracy?
I'm here for Jake. Him and his engineering staff are in the Des Moines and at the annual engineers conference. The maintenance department has been pushing snow. They worked 12-hour days Saturday and Sunday, and we got our new fuel system set up. They say it's working really good. I haven't had to fuel, but and then the big thing is the 235th Street Bridge will close Monday. There's a detour route will be in place. There's been a press release that's been sent out.
Just for a personal thing on that fuel, do we have to learn a new curve, or can we use what we've done in the past? Is it a whole new?
It's pretty much the same, but the keys are different. And
We'll have to get a new key then.
I have your new keys with me now. So
And when will we get the billing on that for our portion of the?
as soon as we get the bill, we'll work on getting that sent out.
Blake?
All right, we have a relatively quiet December. We have Judge Wyatt Peterson coming back. He's going to be starting on the 15th, rotating in. He'll rotate here for 10 weeks. Our December court dates coming up are going to be the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and the 29th. The 29th is non-reported, but those will be our district court dates. Those dates are open to the public, so if anybody wants to come in and see what happens in court, feel free to come on down. Our trial date for December is December 9th. I think at this time we don't have any trials currently scheduled anymore. They've all been resolved. Our district associate court judge is Judge Jonathan Stensvog. Court dates for him coming up are December 10th. I think December 10th is relatively busy. We have arraignment dates scheduled for December 3rd and 17th. Magistrate court is generally daily initial appearances, traffic, and simple misdemeanors. Generally get handled on Fridays. Some items of interest. We've noticed an increase in truancy actions being requested lately as the school year kind of gets further on with the change of laws that happened earlier this year. Any student who misses up to 20% of school has to be referred to the county attorney's office for truancy actions, and that seems to be kicking into full gear now with more than I've noticed in the last couple of years at least. I did attend the Prosecutors Fall Conference in last month, November, training for that, 4 days up in Des Moines as well. That's it.
Thank you. Katie?
Sure. So Board of Health met last on November 5th, and we don't meet in December. We're meeting again on January 7th. I sent the Board of Health report out. Expenses were under our projected budget, and revenue was up, but we're seeing a lot of the reimbursement for our respiratory vaccines, our flu and COVID coming in. So that'll continue for the next couple months. October and November, we're very busy with flu and COVID vaccine clinics. RSV vaccines also available for people 60 and over, 50 if you have certain conditions, and then for pregnant females from 32 to 36 weeks gestation. Russ sent me stats for permits issued. They had 3 in November. They did 3 site inspections with 1 final inspection and 3 time of transfer titles. No complaints this month, and 1 water test collected. And then for general assistance report, we had 10 calls. All were denied for various reasons, including over income and past due bills. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Roger?
Yes, sir. Veterans Affairs. We had our commissioners meeting on November 26th, and it was at 2 o'clock. All of our members were present with the exception of Charles, and he was on the phone to attend the meeting. He just did it by phone. We had, this last month, we had 153 phone calls and 69 visits, office visits. and I gave out several papers to the guys in our meeting. One of them, and I brought you guys a copy of it as well. It is total expenditures for 2024 from the VA for Henry County, and our expenditures was 17 million. That's what we received from the VA, $17,074,898. And direct compensation and pension was $6,108,290 for veterans who's receiving compensation. So I wanted to share that with you guys as well. I gave them a commissioners meeting schedule for 2026, which we usually have it on the third Thursday of every month at the office over there, just to let you all know. Our breakfast at the Vets Hall seems to continue to grow. I think last time we had something like 66 present, and that's a good thing because we have a lot of speakers, and we had several come down from the Iowa City VA that put on presentations and stuff just to inform veterans what's going on up there. We have a meeting today up in Iowa City for our stakeholders meeting, and they have that quarterly, and I always go to those because they present a lot of information, upcoming events and stuff coming from the VA. And a lot of mail's been going out to veterans. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. They're receiving cards in the mail and stuff like that stating that they're getting, they have an opportunity to increase their benefits by $150 a month or whatever, up to $500. What it is it's insurance agents, and they claim to be part of the VA. They are not part of the VA, okay? They are a subsidiary of the VA, and they are approved by the VA if people decide to, but their insurance that they receive, that they offer, is not free, okay? They have to pay a premium on it, and that's what they don't tell them over the phone. So it's really questionable as to how much information you give them. And I presented that at the last breakfast. You want to be careful of giving out your social security numbers, your IDs, and your doctors, and all this other stuff that you see at the VA, because it's not a good deal. Because people out there are taking advantage of veterans a lot. So just wanted to share that, okay? And our meeting adjourned at 2:30. And our next meeting is on the 18th of December. So.
Good morning. On behalf of the Conservation Department, keeping plenty busy. Facilities, all of our shower house, bathroom facilities are closed and winterized for the season. Dump station, wanted to give an update on that. We got her up and running. Obviously, you guys approved ARPA funds for that, so I'm still working on a few things, working with LISCO. There was a little bit of miscommunication there. Unfortunately, LISCO still has to trench in the fiber line to the site so we can power our security cameras. So obviously the winter weather has not been helping with that. So I've got a few loose ends I'm trying to get finalized. Obviously, yes, we're getting pushed up against a deadline, and I'm aware of that. So just, waiting on some contractors, unfortunately. Wanted to mention a story walk project I've been working on, kind of unique. If you're not familiar with a story walk, basically there's informational panels that you put along a trail system. Working with the Mount Pleasant Public Library, noon and evening Rotary on this, to basically you take a children's book, make photocopies of it, blow it up, put them in these panels. The goal is to get people outside, get some exercises, as well as read. So we had a ribbon cutting for that project on the 15th of November. We had 50 people show up to that. A lot of kids. We did the ribbon cutting. The kids got to help with that. So kind of a unique, exciting project. It's the only one around, a permanent one that's around southeast Iowa that I'm aware of. We were supposed to have a board meeting last night. We decided to postpone that due to a lack of stuff on the agenda. And I didn't really want to have 2 meetings this month with the budget, talk. So I do have some questions for you in regards to the budget. I don't know if you want me to ask those now, or maybe you guys will elaborate on that, but just, kind of wanting some input on what you think we need to be prepping for this budget season. Any major things that department heads need to be aware of.
Go ahead and ask the question if you.
Okay, so I guess, obviously the compensation study, I won't get too much into that. Been conducting performance reviews, but, what do we expect is, cost of living, insurance increases, so on and so forth. I'll be honest, I would like to complete my budget once and get it approved by my board and not have to go back to the drawing table 3 to 4 times like we've had to do in the past. So, any input, budget cuts, is there anything pertinent that department heads need to be aware of prepping that, as well as budget packets? Have not received those yet.
We'll be going out, we had to do month end.
Okay.
Month end just got done, I think, yesterday.
Just, kind of a short timeline to get our budgets
We have a lot of
approved, especially with, departments that have external boards. It's hard to get my board to meet at least once, if not twice, to discuss that.
Until April this still now, right? To finish our budgets. They
Okay.
moved it from March to April, into
Well, that's
April.
Okay, perfect.
We have
No?
I'll give you
We
a
backed
packet,
that up.
because there's a,
We have received
sorry.
it's
no
January
information on
15th, we
insurance.
gotta have them in.
We do not
Yeah.
know
To my office, and then you guys
any kind of
sometimes
balance.
discuss.
No, I just figured I'd ask.
I
That's,
appreciate you asking.
Yeah,
We
it's just-
we have nothing to input to
Yep.
right at the moment, so far as I'm
Okay.
concerned.
yeah, cause I know my board's been asking about it, and, with the holidays coming here, and
I think in the short term, the most important thing we can get done is all your reviews with your people, so you have that in place and work with Paul, so we understand how that is all gonna tie together, cause that obviously ties back into the compensation that you were asking
yeah,
about.
we're sitting pretty good on that front, so, and I just thought I'd mention it with.
I do not know what our insurance package would be at all.
Yep.
But I'm just saying from the other boards that I sit on, it's been favorable.
Okay. Yep, that's just, some things, that's a good portion of my budget, so that's, really all I have. Any questions?
Just maybe you and Robin together, where are we on the expense of the ARPA funds?
Yeah,
We've gotta
so
update that spreadsheet, is what I'm asking.
So
It goes to Southeast Iowa.
we have the conservation department, Gloria, my office manager, she has a spreadsheet. I know, once we receive the invoices from the contractors, we make a copy, I have it in a folder, and then we bring it into Robin, for payment. So, I haven't
And
talked to
about
Robin.
March is when I start sending
Yeah,
it to
so-
Southeast Iowa Regional Planning.
Couple weeks
And then
ago-
they're the ones who fill out everything, and then they give me a spreadsheet, and that's when that spreadsheet gets
So a
updated.
couple weeks ago, Robin and I met, just to kind of make sure our figures were jiving. I think we got on the same page there, so, like I said, Lisco, I thought we had a contract signed with them, which we're not gonna go into that, but, we did not, so, they're gonna be pushing it to get it done. And I've been in contact with the manager for Southeast Iowa, if you will, field tech manager, and have expressed my concerns of, how urgent it needs to be to get it done and get bills to us by the 31st, so, I've been working on it.
Did you get, did we get all those issues resolved with absolute security?
Yes, which I appreciate you working on that. They've been good, since then, so, we had a few minor issues, but, we haven't had any issues thus far, so.
Okay, and they're contacting you now?
Yes.
Directly.
Yep, and I haven't had any phone calls recently, so.
Well, I haven't
that's
either.
a
That's
good
a good thing.
That's a good thing, so, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good night.
The news that I have to report today is, February 27th will be Marla Willie's last day. She is retiring after 25 years. We are losing a very knowledgeable person, and because of that, I will be restructuring the office because I will not be replacing her. And so, also because of that, I am going to make Tammy Becker a deputy, and then eventually I will make Rachel a deputy also. So we always have somebody in that office that can make decisions. So I have the form for you to sign, Mark, if you will be willing to sign that. She will be deputy starting January 1st of January 26th till the end of my term. If I get reelected, I will have her continue being the deputy.
Thank you. Kelly.
All right, well, here's your normal investment balances, journal ledger, and treasurer county retention schedule. To lay some groundwork, I've been involved with the Iowa DOT regarding motor vehicle and driver's license enhancements. The current software that we use for motor vehicle and driver's license is called ARTS. It's going to be replaced in stages with a newer program that's going to be called CORE. During each stage of the endeavor, Henry County will have to jump on board or be left behind. I decided to jump. So we're moving along with the DOT, and the DOT's first stage is going to be pushing out Rollout 1.1, which is an appointment scheduling system that every county will have access to. We currently have our own system, our own appointment schedule system that we actually pay for. This is free. We're not going to be paying anymore. So this is a schedule system for both motor vehicle and driver's license, as some counties require you to have an appointment for motor vehicle as well as a driver's license. Henry County motor vehicle will remain as a walk-in. I'm not changing any of that. Essentially, I'm just jumping on board to utilize a free scheduling appointment system for driver's license. This means every customer will be able to schedule a driver's license anywhere within the state. That includes county offices as well as state offices. There will be no cost to the counties for this adaptation, and this will replace our current driver's license scheduling, which I stated. So you can go onto the system, and if you're gonna be in Des Moines on January 28th, you can schedule an appointment January 28th in Des Moines. And if somebody's gonna be from Des Moines and they're like, hey, I'm gonna be in Henry County, they can do the same thing. They can schedule an appointment down in Henry County. So it's gonna be a statewide system.
So what's the time frame on that?
The rollout will begin on January 20th. In the meantime, my staff and I are currently involved with the training of this new program. There are 32 training modules that we need to do within the month of December. It's similar to our Karosh, however you want to say that. But we'll also have like what we call a sand environment where you can go in and you can play with it to see if everything works accordingly or the way they want it to. Eventually, it's going to get to a testing environment that you can go in and try to break it. That's their requirement. They request us try to break it, see if you can break it to make it work. So everybody in my office will be familiarized themselves with it when it goes live on January 20th. Max at Van Buren County IT was kind enough to download the required programs several weeks ago to all of our county computers. So he did that, and there's a few more requirements that the DOT is asking, and I've already been in contact with Max. Since he lives here in town, he said that he could stop by and try to manage that for us, and I greatly appreciate that. Normal business during the month of November, the DOT emailed a year-to-date county analysis through October of 2025 for motor vehicle county retentions and vehicle transactions. When the legislation changed to any county titling, there was some concern that rural counties would suffer from the loss of title transfers going to the bigger counties with the big dealerships. The big dealerships were like, oh, well, I'll just go to my courthouse right here. There was some really big concerns that the amount of revenue that the smaller rural counties were going to take in was going to drop. Henry County seems to be holding our own. So as many as we lose, we get back. So it's a it's a win-win. I mean, we're not losing, we're not gaining, but we're not losing either. Per that DOT analysis from 24-25, from the fiscal year 24 to the fiscal year 25, we have increased our county retention by 59%, assumedly due to the fee increases. You know, that extra $10 for title, extra $10 for lien, extra $10 on your use tax that you pay. So Henry County has, the county retention has updated by 59%. Driver's license fees have increased 29% without any increase in fees, and the number of titles issued has increased 11%. So the amount of driver's license that we're actually doing is up from the year before. Even the amount that we retain is up from the year before, and without any extra fees coming in. It's just a matter that have more customers, and we do have several out-of-county customers. We do collect the extra $10 on out-of-county people that come to Henry County. And I think last month we had, 32 or something like that. So, I mean, we are getting the out-of-county people for driver's licenses as well. Since November is a short month, driver's license issued for the month of November were 283, with 21 out-of-county customers this last month. We managed 71 walk-in customers, 53 knowledge testers, 22 drive tests with 3 drive failures, and 1 departmental re-exam. Driver's license collections were 6,481 with retention of 2,191. Motor vehicle collections were 503,000 for the month of November with a retention of 25,000 that the county gets to retain. Property tax collection obviously has slowed down since September. However, tax sale investors could pay any subsequent taxes for the current year on their tax sale certificates after November 15th. These subtaxes are added to the original tax sale amount that the property owner would have to pay to redeem the property. So if you bought a tax, you paid somebody's taxes and you got the tax sale certificate, and they still didn't pay the current taxes that came out in September, then that tax sale investor that bought it in June could come back in November 15th and they could pay those September taxes to be added to the original certificate. So that way the investor is increasing their investment, and they're also protecting their investment. By that I mean, June comes around again next year and taxes haven't been paid, it's gonna go to tax sale again. This way the investor keeps their investment here. It doesn't go to tax sale where there's a probability of another investor jumping on board to get some of that interest. So it's not I wouldn't say it's helpful for a property owner, obviously, but county gets their money, county gets their taxes. So we did have almost $41,000 in November interest by all the accounts that I've managed. My office also caught 2 cases of wholesale dealer fraud. The mileage had been rolled back on one of the out-of-state titles. This requires both of those vehicles will have to go through the bonding situation, which goes through the state of Iowa. We don't have anything to do with it after that. The paperwork looked funny, the paperwork didn't add up, and so it went to an investigator and came back that one of them, the mileage had been rolled back, and it was an out-of-state title. So it had been rolled back somewhere between the previous owner and this out-of-state title, and then it came to Iowa, and it just didn't jive. So I proud my office for catching that. The last thing on my schedule, or my thing, is the compensation study as well. Just a couple weeks ago, we had another department in here that signed off on a compensation schedule to increase their employees all up to a certain standard base. And I think it was kind of glossed over. I mean, it didn't go into great detail, and I don't really want to go into great detail about what I would request either, but if you're going to allow one department to increase their people mid-term, then it kind of seems that you should allow the other departments to increase their people mid-term as well. Normally, we are only allowed, our department is only allowed an annual raise, one time a year, July 1st you get your raise. And this other department is allowed to increase their wages every 6 months, and then also then we're allowing this new compensation study to allow them to move their employees again. I'm not gonna speak for any of the other departments, and I know we all talk about transparency and we want that to be out there, but, where does the fairness start? Where does my employees are like, why do they get to move up? Why is that such a, a fair thing? I'm not asking for myself, I'm asking for my employees. Cause I have one employee that's low, I mean, she's my newest employee, but you move them up to a standard at 80 to 85%. Why isn't everybody on that pay band at 80 or 85%? It's just, I'm not understanding, and I just was hoping that maybe we could discuss that at a later time. Cause I don't feel like this is exactly that time, but I wanted to push it out there.
Yeah, when Paul comes here, we can do that again and go through that to make sure everybody understands.
Cause they're pushing at
Excuse
a
me.
January 1st
Yeah.
increase date.
But to answer specifically to your questions, it was secondary roads, just so everybody's, for transparency. They had 3 people that were well below the average in the compensation band, and that's why they were moved up.
And he's giving
Yes, and he's,
everybody, I mean, pretty much.
not everyone, no, just those 3
According to that
people.
list, it is.
No.
There's like 3 of them out of 20.
Yeah,
Some.
to get him into the pay band, and then they'll review that again. But again, he's not getting any extra budget, he's using his existing budget.
Okay, and this is where the conversation comes in. I'm not padding my budget. I don't have room to pad my budget. All my budget is wages. That's it. I mean, I have a little bit here for postage, but that goes to mail out statements and renewal notices and a little bit on stationing. Other than that, I have no padding that I can move from one place to another. And it was, when this House File 718 came out, it was like, we need to cut staff, but we're not gonna cut this department because it doesn't come out of general basic. We're not gonna cut this department because it doesn't come out of general basic. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 departments that was like, you guys need to cut. And I didn't think that was, I mean, I understand general basic, but you're throwing right at our employees when other employees were adding to their departments or giving them a raise.
We will have that discussion like Steve said, but just for clarity here. I stated earlier, knowing that we were gonna be going with this study, I would support a budget amendment if it fit into that category
Okay.
for you people. I think that's only fair. We've asked you to do this, and I think that we are gonna, I wanna follow what I said earlier. So with that.
I'd build on that as
We
well,
might
yeah.
have to amend some budgets. I don't know.
But I think in the short term, to Mark's point, it's to make sure that we get people within the pay band that they need to be. So to your point, if they're below that, we need to bring those people into that pay band. And this is a one-time situation. This is not perpetual. It's let's get them in the pay band that they should be in to help you manage your budget better in the long term, because you're gonna be responsible for who gets what in the big scheme of things, right?
And I have done my evaluations as well.
Okay, good.
And also, that we go back to 718, we learned a lot about that after the fact too. So we were still in a learning curve on that too. Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
I got the sheriff's
Okay.
thing here.
Oh, I can pull that up.
Basically, I won't read it verbatim, but the highlights of the sheriff's report, he's not able, he apologized for not being able to be here, but he's at a training session as well. He said for the jail holding inmates, he said we're typically in the upper 50s of out-of-county people most of this month. Total revenue generated for out-of-county inmates was given at 4.2 mil so far this reporting period, that is a gross amount. That's not the net amount. That's a gross amount. So he said business is slower in 25, thankfully, for emergency services. Services in 23 were at 21,600 and change. 24 we're at 20,969 and change, and this year so far 19,241 calls. So that curve is going down on number of emergency calls from the sheriff's office, having to create call cards on and everything. So he said staffing is doing well. He said we do have a jailer staff position opening. They hired one and are continuing to accept applications. They've moved forward with the part-time courthouse security deputy and anticipate a hiring in the next month for that position. Rich wants to plug the Sheriff's Gap, the application that you can put on your phone, informational. It's a free app, weather information. There's a lot of different types of information on that app. You're more than welcome to download it. Like I said, it's free. He wants to just give a public service announcement. He said deer accidents right now are really high. And he encourages everybody to slow down, watch for deer, and just drive accordingly. Kind of holds true then with the next session here is on snow. He wants everybody to be prepared, have supplies in the vehicle, and drive appropriately for the conditions. You know, common sense winter driving in Iowa. He reported Veterans Day and Thanksgiving Day came and went. We all survived and had little to no problems, which is a good thing. December and moving into January bring more holidays. Wishes everybody well and happy and hope for all of you to celebrate responsibly. Encourages everybody else to celebrate responsibly. That was the end of his report.
Robin.
I just came back from the fall conference for the auditors' fall conference up there in Des Moines, very informational. Talked to the Department of Management when I was up there, discussing some deadlines that are due for this month. Our entire office is working on all those deadlines, the reports for those deadlines that they need, and then entering assessments from the state that I received, and entering the TIF values, and doing the semi-annual reports. So my office is very busy at this time of year. That's all I got.
Thank you. I'm happy to announce one of the things that the supervisors have been working on is the IT. December 15th, we will have a new person in that position, is Gunnar Sloan. So he'll be coming on board, and on the December 18th, we will have the ISAC audit report given to us.
Correct.
And so with that, Steve, I'll turn it over.
Yes, so on the 18th, we'll have an ISAC report, so all the department heads, that's gonna be an open meeting, so if the department heads are available, I'd encourage you to be here for that, so you can get an overview of what the team actually did when they were here. It's a lot more in-depth than the preliminary that we saw back on the 30th or 31st, whenever that was of October, so it'll be much more detailed. And then following that, we'll have a closed session with that team to follow up on some more intimate details that are more confidential. So we'll have 2 meetings that day. So one open, one closed. The 18th at 9 o'clock. So the ISAC team will be here to give that presentation. So if you guys have any questions, we can go through that. And Max and Kevin Harder have agreed to be mentors. So they'll be working with Gunnar to make sure he comes on board and gets everything he needs to get us rolling.
Anything else?
Not from that side of things. I think we're good.
Any
Yeah, so today I have a Southeast Iowa Regional Planning session. It'll be a full team meeting at noon today down in Burlington. And on Monday of this week, we had a RISE meeting. I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I missed the meeting, unfortunately, because of the weather and a flat tire, but we had the opportunity to visit with Jake, and I don't know if y'all know that, but over by where Continental is, obviously that's where the RISE grant is going to come into play. The city is going to be working with the county on that. The city's going to take the preliminary lead on that, right, Tracy? So just so everybody knows, that's about a $700,000 grant. So it ties into employment. So with 50 people, it's about $14,000 per person. So it all ties together. Hopefully we can reach that goal of 50 new people. If we don't, then the county and the city will have to repay some of those dollars. But a really good example of what has happened here is it Mid-Am out here on the east side of town? And that was a RISE grant as well. And they had projected 40 people, but I think they hired 37 maybe, or 38. So the county and the city worked together to pay back a marginal amount of money. I think it was like $2,000, $3,000 roughly a piece. So those RISE grants are really great and a good opportunity there. The only major concern I think that anybody had was everybody knows what that road's called, right? Goodyear Road? Yeah. So obviously Continental would like to rename that road, so but it's kind of fun.
What are they suggesting they name it?
I believe Hickory. But good question. So that's all in process, and we should be seeing some paperwork come through on that. Do you don't know any more about that at all, Tracy? Okay, so that's kind of where we are with the RISE situation. So we're moving forward, and that's good news. The other thing, on the 18th of November, I think we talked about the
December?
November.
Oh, November, okay.
18th of November, we talked about this some time ago, in support of the burn ordinance that we passed last summer with all of the wind and all the fires that we had. Iowa State University and the Soil and Water Conservation Service sponsored a CRP burning session, and we had about 25 people there, and we had 5 speakers. So it was a really well attended and a really good session. Unfortunately, it rained that day, so we weren't able to burn, but really good information, and I think it made a big difference to some folks that were there. So we had a couple of fire marshals there and a couple of local fire people, and so I think we get good information out to hopefully resolve and limit some of what we see in the near future. Talked a lot about the red flag warnings and what those meant to everybody and where to find the information, so it's a really good opportunity. What else have I got? We can talk about this as we move forward, Mark, but at some point we probably need to determine when our Christmas week schedule should be, because obviously Thursday is Christmas Day, right?
Correct.
So we need to come up with a date on that. And I think that's it for me.
All right. Chad, do you have anything else?
Yeah, they're, Mississippi Valley, you've probably heard me talk for the last couple of months, Mississippi Valley workforce and central Iowa, south central Iowa workforce, in the lower central tier of the county kind of reaches up. They've agreed to merge together. It's all been taken care of. There was a document that went around about a month ago, and all counties had to sign off on it. Well, it got done, all except Mahaska County, and there was a very insignificant change on the language, so they wanted it changed, so it needed to be done because everybody signed off on it and agreed to it. So the amendment was made, but the only drawback, it has to go through the cycle of all the counties signing off on it again. I've got the amended copy. Steve has looked at it with the county attorney's office, said go for it, very insignificant change, so I'm just asking, you've already given me permission to handle that, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that was gonna be.
I appreciate you asking that, and I said to Chad that we had already given him the authority to take care of anything like that for us. He is our representative and he's done his due diligence, so I feel that we are completely covered.
I would agree.
Okay, then another issue, we've just had our first snowfall and snow clearing issue with the new service provider. All department heads that have areas of responsibility, any problems?
We called Tyler, we had him come back. Ours was an ice slick, so they did come back and resalt for us later that day.
Thank you.
And, they're like a new service, so I told Tyler, I said, expect they might want to figure out a good system of how to blade that driveway and everything. Just because the first time you mow a yard isn't the last way you mow a yard. It works out better and pushing it and turning and everything like that. So they'll be in that move station and figure out how to get all that done. So it's good to hear. I drove around that day of the snow, just kind of making sure everything was going, and it looked like the gist of it was being done, so. The third thing, the first of the year, we, as a board, fill commission and board vacancies and things like that. I just encourage anybody that's interested, submit the application, and that way we can look at it, and if there's any interviews or things of that nature to be done so we can fill those positions, we do that typically the first meeting of the year, I believe, don't we? Fill those positions.
Or we might do it on, yes.
The last meeting of
The
the
last
month.
meeting of the year, so we might have to rearrange our schedule again for that, like the 30th.
And then the last thing, been working with Mr. Carter, assistant engineer, and Absolute Security. We're mapping these. Absolute Security had a 80% type, 85% proper placement of the alarm systems and everything like that. Assistant engineer Carter and I, we've been in every nook and cranny and basement and cubby hole and closet of this whole building here, just trying to plot these in a appropriate action. One, so Absolute Security can get a proper labeling. If their device goes off, they can say first floor, this is the first floor, supervisors, mid-room alarm going off. They can get you exactly to that location. One that's used in emergency management for fire control. Firemen don't need to go to the third floor looking for an alarm if this is the alarm going off here. So, but he's doing his computer CAD magic on all that stuff. So good for him. I appreciate that help.
And we'll share that with all the department heads and elected officials,
Yep,
right? So they know.
yep. He's in the process.
At this point.
He's doing the CAD drawing. He's gonna get with the Absolute Security. They're gonna coordinate where we can all get together, or he and can put that together and come up with an end document. So that's in the works.
Great.
A week from today, we are having a meeting with all of the county morticians, funeral directors, because there's been a little bit of language change in the Iowa code and what they can bill for and how to go about it. So we're trying to get everybody on the same page so we can be ready for our budget for next year too on that. So we might have a room full of morticians here next week too. So
When is that?
next on the 11th at 11 o'clock. And that would probably directly affect you, Katie. So, and that. I have nothing else. We have a public comment.
We will be attending the District 5 meeting on the 12th. So.
Yes, Donna.
Well, the consensus seems to be for me to start, so I will. First, on a positive note, as a transplant to Mount Pleasant, I am immensely impressed with the plowing that's done in the city and in the county, so kudos for that. I went to Burlington, and if you compare Burlington City with Mount Pleasant, it's just, the comparison is just, it's obvious that we do a better job here. And the other comment I want to make before I read my statement is that the statement is not based on politics. I am finding widespread support for Deputy Lopez across the parties, and those who imply that there is a political component to that, I think, are just wrong. The recent court ruling addressed the actions of the county attorney in placing Deputy Lopez on the Brady-Giglio List. According to my understanding, although I'm not a lawyer, the judge determined that Deputy Lopez should not have been on this list. The court described the county attorney's decision as an abuse of discretion, which to me underscores its seriousness. The judge stated that Lopez's statements were poorly worded, not intentionally misleading. Furthermore, the judge highlighted a breakdown in the communication between the departments in the county and noted that the county attorney repeatedly changed the reasons for keeping Lopez on the list. Also, based on what I've been told, and I admit these are rumors, I have concerns that the county attorney and some members of his staff may have overlapping personal and professional relationships. Such overlaps not only risk actual bias, but can also create the appearance of bias in the eyes of the public, regardless of whether any conduct took place. Ethical standards emphasize the importance of both actual impartiality and the avoidance of any circumstances that might appear biased. The judge also acknowledged the tensions that I've mentioned before between the county attorney's office and the sheriff's office. If these overlapping relationships and tensions exist, it raises the possibility that Deputy Lopez was punished not for his own mistakes, but due to unrelated bias. I have questions about whether Lopez's error was used as retribution for actions unrelated to his job, or if he was penalized because of departmental tensions. While I do not anticipate ever knowing the answer to my questions, the fact that I, as a member of the public, have them indicates a need to scrutinize the motivations behind the county attorney's actions. Given that Deputy Lopez was wrongly placed on the list and had to defend his reputation because of agency miscommunication and shifting justifications, I would strongly urge the county to reimburse him for his legal expenses. Providing this support would be a fair way to restore trust and demonstrate a commitment to correcting mistakes. Failure to do so could prompt county employees, especially those in law enforcement, to reconsider their career choices in light of the county's lack of respect.
You mentioned boards and commissions. On the website is a chart that shows the vacancies available, so I think it's important. Is that going to be shared with the media as well, so that it gets out there? People need to know that those are open, I guess. So I would recommend that. My comment is also about Deputy Lopez. After reading the 23-page ruling, which is, there's copies available on the desk. We've also posted it on Henry County Watchman if you would like to read it. After reading the 23-page ruling by 7th District Court Judge Thomas Rydell, I am appalled that county money has been spent for the last 2 years to drag Deputy Lopez through the mud, put unnecessary stress and hardship on him and his family, all for a Scrivener's error. Is our county attorney's time not better spent prosecuting crimes and going after those who have done harm in our county? Until some supervisors meetings earlier this year, when the wind turbine ordinance was being updated and various draft changes had been made and voted on, I did not know what a Scrivener's error was. It is simply a clerical error or a word choice error, something minor that can be corrected. In the Brady-Giglio ruling, it states that it is common for these types of errors to be corrected in police reports. It is also common in other areas such as ordinances and county minutes. The assistant county attorney sat in this room and educated us all on Scrivener's errors with that wind ordinance and that they aren't a big deal. Why is it different in this case? I am simply floored by the fact that our county attorney proceeded to place Deputy Lopez on the Brady-Giglio list for such an issue. Do you realize that every time a Scrivener's error was made in this very room by one of the supervisors, by the auditor in the minutes of these meetings, or by any other county office, if these are major offenses, as County Attorney Stater has tried to assert on Deputy Lopez, each and every elected official and employee in this county should be facing similar charges? Is that something that most people would sign up to do as an employee of this county? Should a Scrivener's error make it necessary for any county employee to have their credibility attacked, their character questioned, and their life put on public display? Should such an error cause them to incur almost $30,000 in legal fees? And then when their name is cleared and the charges prove to be preposterous by a judge and abuse of their accuser's discretion, shouldn't we as a county and you as elected officials recognize this as an abuse of power, an absurd case of bullying due to personal matters? Shouldn't we stand up and say this should never be allowed to impact someone's job and cause this level of stress, physical, emotional, and financial? The level of integrity shown by Deputy Lopez is evident in his reimbursement request 2 weeks ago. First of all, he could have just jumped to suing the county for these expenses incurred. He could be seeking much bigger damages than just the attorney fees. Deputy Lopez walked in here with full transparency. He had the appropriate documentation. He humbled himself to once again put his story in the headlines, all while just asking for the difference between his impending attorney bill and the funds raised from community members at a fundraiser on his behalf. In my opinion, that is integrity and character on display. Deputy Lopez could have also walked away from this fight over the last 2 years. He could have folded and he could have gone on with his life somewhere else in another profession. But he knows that there is much more to this on the line here. Because every county employee in this room and within the county could be in the same position. If he backs down, this pattern continues. It takes a strong, determined person to subject themselves to this, especially not knowing the outcome. This community is proud of Deputy Lopez for standing for the truth. This is evidenced by the overwhelming response and support on social media from posts related to Deputy Lopez and his request for reimbursement. As a service to the community, I mentioned, and in the interest of transparency and truth, we posted the ruling yesterday, and a number of people have reached out to me thanking me for doing that. This is public information. It's time for the citizens to be informed of the facts of the case and other county business. The days of people being unaware of what is taking place are over. The supervisors must choose to act sooner rather than later and reimburse Deputy Lopez the attorney's fees he incurred to defend himself from this blatant attempt to discredit him, destroy his career, and settle personal vendettas due to past relationships. It is time to preserve Henry County's reputation and not let it sink further into the pit of drama and continue to heap on the lack of disrespect of our county's citizens, as well as continue to make Henry County the laughingstock of others around the state. It is time to stop the bullying. It is time to stop the childish manipulation and middle school behavior. It is time to set aside past personal issues and relationships and rise up to accountability, integrity, transparency, and truth. It is time to set the record straight that county employees and elected officials should not be engaged in bullying, intimidation, and the good old boys network. It is time to end the "this is the way we've always done it," and nobody has had the nerve to stand up and say something. It's time to set the bar higher, because I've learned that you get what you expect. So expect those who represent our county to do better, be more, and change the pattern here once and for all. I expect that the three of you will make the right decision and reimburse Deputy Lopez so he and his family can start healing and rebuilding their lives. Thank you.
So I have heard some concern whether, does the Board of Supervisors have the power and authority to reimburse the attorney's fees? The statute itself dealing with the Brady-Giglio List does not in itself provide a provision addressing that. That may be something in the works. They have provided one instance where an officer is charged with a public offense that he can, in that instance, upon acquittal, have the court order attorney's fees. In his suit, he did request attorney's fees. That part was stricken because it's just not in this new of a law. That just has not been added to the law yet. In my review, I do not believe that is a bar or prohibition from the Board of Supervisors being able to award his attorney's fees. In the Iowa State Association of County Supervisors Manual, there's a section beginning on page 29 regarding tort liability. Now, a tort is a civil wrong other than a breach of contract for which a remedy may be obtained, usually in the form of damages, or a breach of duty that the law imposes on persons who stand in a particular relation to one another. So that does apply to this instance. The handbook states that every county is subject to liability for its torts and those of its officers and employees acting within the scope of their employment or duties, whether arising out of a governmental or proprietary function. Now, we've all heard of governmental immunity.
Iowa Code Section 670.2 imposes liabilities for torts upon government subdivisions. Then 670.4 lists situations in which government immunity applies. Under that section, 670.4 sub 1 sub C, it can be argued that immunity does not apply in this instance due to Mr. Stater's abuse of discretion, thereby failing to exercise due care. And a lack of due care does submit the county to liability. Now, the handbook states that the board may compromise, adjust, and settle tort claims against the county, its officers, employees, and agents for damages. Now, in this instance, Deputy Lopez is not filing or has not filed a tort lawsuit against the county. The claim is not legally filed, but that does not mean the claim does not exist. The county has the power in the manual under this provision to compromise, adjust, and settle this claim. Deputy Lopez is simply requesting to be made whole or reimbursed for the financial damages done to him and his family that resulted from Mr. Stater's abuse of discretion. I would conclude that the board does have the authority and power to appropriate the monies necessary. I cannot guess or predict whether Deputy Lopez would ever desire or would follow through and file a lawsuit. He simply requests that the Board of Supervisors do what they have the power and authority to do. I also believe that it's a good and proper action. Thank you.
I think you were citing 331, 303, 10, I think.
In the manual?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Bill?
Yeah. Deputy Lopez's warrant that contained those supposed Scrivener errors passed across the desk of the county attorney's office and was signed. Is there no recourse or penalty to those that reviewed it, that said it was okay at the time, and then come back later and say, no, this doesn't work? And are there penalties to be issued for that? And who would be responsible, since the county attorney is supposedly the chief law enforcement officer in the county, of putting them and the staff, or some of them, on the Brady list? That's it.
Anybody else? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second that.
With that, all those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're now adjourned.
Well, it was another episode of Podcast Excellence. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. Make sure to give this episode a like, follow, and subscribe. It's free. Can you do me a favor and share this episode? That's how we get the podcast to grow, folks. Thanks to my sponsors, Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Your Choice Family Restaurant, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and a family of jet stops, CW Tree Trimming, LLC, Iowa Technology Systems, Junkin Sisters Holiday Shop Hop, December 5th and 6th, Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.